I'm here to spill the tea. I'm in shock as to how much money can be made selling simple candles using ChatGPT and Canva. And most people don't know about this opportunity. It's actually quite simple and you don't need to be a designer. You simply need to leverage ChatGPT to help you create funny messages. Then you're gonna go on Canva to create these very minimalistic labels, which you will upload on Printify, which is a well-known print-on-demand supplier, which will give you access to lots of different candles, which you can then sell to different marketplaces like Etsy, eBay, and Amazon, where you will find sellers who are making as much as $1,000 a day selling these simple candles. Now, why candles? Actually, candle gifts is something that's been trending the last 5 years if we look on Google Trends. Hence, there's still a lot of opportunity, especially if you are a beginner. So let's dive in as I want to walk you through the step-by-step required for you to start uploading your first minimalistic candles and start getting those sales. So step one is we're going to be doing research to understand what is in demand. Research is actually the most important part of your business. This will make or break your business. And I'm going to show you why. So if we go on Etsy and we do a quick search for funny candles, you're going to notice that all the best-selling candles are actually speaking to a specific customer in mind. So in this case, we're seeing anxiety for mental health, candle for 40th birthday. So all these different candles are themed and speaking to a particular customer in mind. The candles that are more generic are just not getting as much traction. So if we take actually a further look, you will notice that this candle right here for a best friend's birthday is generating as much as $5,995 in monthly sales. And this is data that I captured through using a Chrome extension called Everbee. Or this funny unpaid therapist candle is generating as much as $2,333 per month. Yes, you read that correctly. So the craziest thing is that actually if you come to Amazon and look at stores like this one right here, you'll see that they've sold over 10,000 candles in the past month, which is pretty insane because it means that this store has made as much as $189,000 in 1 month. Instead of choosing a niche based on your personal preference, you need to look at data. And this is what top 1% sellers do. And then we're gonna find a gap in the marketplace so we can differentiate our listing. And an easy way to do that as a beginner is to actually find another niche and blend them together. So a quick example for you is we could, for instance, create candles for golfers. And golfers can be a great sub-niche because as of late, it's becoming more popular and there's as many as 26 million golfers in the US alone. And if we take a quick look at this candle right here, it's generating as much as $930 per month. And we know that doing just that, blending something that is funny with these golfing candles can help rank our listing, especially as a beginner. This is going to get us more eyeballs on our listing, and as a result, more eyeballs equals more sales. Step two is where the magic happens. We're gonna use ChatGPT to help us create these funny candle labels. And remember, people buy emotions, they don't buy the candles. So having a funny message is going to make all the difference. And for me, it's been a game changer because I'm not a native English speaker. As you can tell, I have a funny accent. And as a result, it's helped me become a top copywriter. And there's two ways that we can do this. The first one is by using a simple prompt where we ask ChatGPT to help us create specific kind of humors. In this case, I asked it to generate 10 funny, sarcastic, and punchy candle label phrases inspired by golf, and they should be under 30 words, witty, and a great gift for golfers with a sense of humor. So if you go ahead and do that, that's one way where you're gonna be getting 10 different labels that you can leverage. So that's just one way. Another way is by taking a screenshot of a bestseller. We can simply go on Etsy and do that and ask ChatGPT to help us create different variation based on what that bestseller, and also giving it additional prompts so it feels sarcastic, funny, witty, or having a dark humor. And we can really play around and give it different tone based on the different prompts that we give ChatGPT. So this is a game changer because what used to take hours to come up with clever ways of having something funny in candles can now take just a matter of minutes. It's truly game changing. And this one is so funny. Less talking, more pudding, and maybe some therapy. Oh my God, I would have never come up with that in the past. Now that we've gone ahead and created our funny labels using AI, we're gonna move on to step 3, which is going to Printify and selecting the candle that we're going to be designing. I personally recommend that you stick to best-selling candles, especially when you are a beginner. The reason being is that, first off, you want to make sure that the base cost is going to give you leverage so you can be profitable. So this particular scented candle that is by Printed Mint, the base cost is just $7.31, or if you have the Printify Gold membership, it's $6.13. So I recommend that you stick to that, because remember, at the end of the day, people buy emotions, not the candle per se. For you to sell a different candle, usually that comes in later when you are a more advanced seller. The key here is to have as many different variations as possible to get a sense as to what is going to stick. So this is why it's so important to leverage AI and ChatGPT to help you create as many different funny messages within the particular niche that you chose based on your research, and then upload that on Printify. So we're gonna go ahead and select that candle, because we're gonna need the design specifications so we can create our Canva template. Then we're gonna click on Start Designing so we can see what the print area is and also download the design template. That's gonna enable us to create our design template on Canva. Now we're ready to design our candle label using Canva. So what I recommend that you do is that you go ahead and open up Canva. You're gonna click on Create Design, and you're gonna upload the template that you just downloaded from Printify. You're gonna see it's a .ai file. You're gonna go ahead and upload that. Once you've done that, you're gonna go to Templates on Canva, and you're gonna do a quick search for Candle Label. And there you'll see there's an array of different options of font and whatnot that you can reuse for your label, or different formats that you can leverage. My recommendation is stick to something that is minimalistic, because people are going to enjoy the witty phrase that you have in the candle. And it's not so much about the design. If you have something that's too busy, it's not gonna allow people to understand what the candle is about. Once you've done that, there's something that I absolutely love. We're gonna use this feature, which is under Apps on Canva, called Bulk Create. And we're gonna add our data. There's multiple ways of doing that. One is you can do it manually. So I'm gonna do it manually in this case. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna copy and paste all the different versions that ChatGPT gave me, all the witty phrases that it gave me, and then I'm gonna connect it to my candle. So then instead of having it to do manually, it's going to go ahead and create for me all these different designs that I can then upload to Printify. So it's gonna make your life so much faster. It's gonna automate the process of uploading these designs, which used to take hours. Now you're gonna be able to do this in just a couple minutes. It's truly an amazing life hack, which I can't live without. Now we're gonna move on to uploading the designs that we just created on Canva into Printify. So we're gonna select the candle that we picked earlier, and we're gonna go ahead and upload our designs one by one. So what we'll do is that we'll go ahead and double click on that candle. Make sure as well that you notice that there are two variants. There is a clear and an amber glass. I recommend that you pick both. And then we're gonna go ahead and upload our design. Now, something worth noting as well is that Printify now has like an AI feature, which is gonna help you generating your descriptions and your titles. You wanna make sure that based on what your competition is doing, that you have titles that are SEO rich and have plenty of keywords that are gonna help users find your candles. So obviously, if we're doing something that is golf related, we wanna make sure that we at least have golfing or golf into our gift for golf into our tags and our titles. And it doesn't have to be any more complicated than that. My personal opinion, and something that's worked for me and all my students, is that having simple SEO is all that matters. Now, you want to make sure as well that you have at least 40% margin on your candles, and you also want to make sure that you are making your customers pay for shipping, especially on Etsy. because this is an opportunity for you to gain additional profit. And you'd be surprised, most people actually pay for shipping on Etsy. Now, you also can turn on and enable the personalization toggle on Printify if your Kindle is personalizable. And when that happens is that every time you get a personalization from your customer, you'll just have to go back into your listing and personalize it accordingly. Now, again, so no free shipping, and then you can go ahead and publish it. Now, this step will depend on whether or not you already have a store on Etsy, eBay, or Amazon. But the beauty of Printify is that you can simply connect your store or create your store and then connect it directly to Printify, whether it's Etsy, TikTok Shop, Amazon, or eBay. My personal favorite is Etsy, especially if you are a beginner, simply because you are tapping into customers who are ready to purchase from you, and it doesn't require you to spend any money in advertising, versus other platforms are a little bit more advanced. So all you have to do is essentially create your store. And by the way, when you are creating your store, especially when it's in a marketplace, you don't need to overcomplicate the process. You can have a very generic store name and just get started, really guys. Like, you don't need to pick a niche at the beginning. And my personal recommendation is to have a generic store, because as a beginner, you need data to understand what's actually going to sell. And guys, that's gonna make all the difference, and it's gonna help you get unstuck, because we know as beginners, the most important thing is to actually gain momentum. Now let's talk marketing and traffic. My personal favorite is Etsy, because with Etsy, you don't need to spend a dime in advertising, and you're tapping into free traffic, practically free traffic, because it's going to cost you 20 cents to upload a listing. And so because we picked a Kindle or a niche that's a little bit more sub-niche, as a beginner, it's going to be easier to get our listing seen. When we're going after more saturated niches, which is something that you do as a more advanced seller, it becomes a little bit more complicated, because you need to know exactly what are the different elements that you need to have in order for your item to get seen. But in this case, the example that I gave you should be fairly easy to rank. And I promise you, you don't need to spend a dime in advertising. What actually matters, you need to have a label that actually is gonna speak to your customer and gets customers to laugh. That's the most important thing, whether it's eBay or Etsy. With Amazon, it could be a little bit more complicated. You do need a little bit of advertising, but at the end of the day, it all comes down to the same thing. If you have something that is going to get a reaction out of your customers, you're going to get more views. And if you get more views, your chances of getting sales are going to obviously increase. So it doesn't have to be overly complicated marketing. On the contrary, these platforms are engineered specifically to make sure that sellers find their customers. So these algorithms are actually way more sophisticated than we give them credit. I mean, they are in the business of getting you sales. So if they see that your product is getting traction and people are viewing it, favoriting it, it's gonna push it as much as possible, right? So you don't need to have fancy marketing. At the end of the day, the foundation of you being successful is having a label that's actually gonna make your customers giggle, laugh, and they're gonna resonate with it, and hence they're gonna purchase it. You now have in your possession all the steps required for you to be successful and start uploading these Kindles on whatever marketplace you decide to upload them on. Don't wait any longer. And if you want other recommendations of other products that are successful in 2025, make sure to check out this video right here. I'll see you next time.